Hello everybody. How are you today on this beautiful Friday? I hope everybody's doing well. I'm going to share my video really quick on my computer. Maybe not. I'll share it in a minute. So today I am going to talk about hair loss because it's something that a lot of patients that I see experience. So it's something that is common, and even though on the surface it doesn't seem like that big of a deal, it is kind of a big deal because usually it means there's some underlying health issue going on that's contributing to your hair falling out in the first place. So if you're jumping on, say hi, comment, like, share, all of those things. Like I said, I don't know who's on until you tell me hi. So like I said, hair loss is sort of a big deal because it's a sign. It's a sign your body's telling you something is not right. Something is going on inside that you need to address. And so just some fun facts. We lose about 100 to 200 hairs a day. That's normal. That's completely normal. But what's also normal is that then we regrow all of that hair that we lose. So if you're in a pattern of hair loss, you're not really aware of that hair loss until you've lost 50% of your hair. So 50% of your hair is gone, and then finally you start to realize because that normal pattern of regrowth is not happening. So when you go in the shower and you're washing your hair and all this hair is falling out in your hand, or you're brushing your hair, or whatever you may be doing. And for me, it's like when I dry my hair, all the hair on the bathroom floor, right? Because I have dark hair, I can see it really easily. But then behind that, hair is also regrowing. So the hair loss is not occurring. Now, I do think, like, as I'm after babies, for some reason, my hair is not as thick as it used to be. So I've definitely experienced some postpartum hair loss. And maybe haven't gotten all that regrowth back. So postpartum hair loss is very common. Just this change in our hormones can cause a lot of hair loss. So that is normal. That is something that happens to a lot of people. So as long as that you notice that hair start to regrow, like for me, I always notice it around my temples, like all these little short hairs that start to regrow, once that hair loss cycle is over. So underlying, if you are having hair loss, we're going to talk about a couple reasons, maybe why you're experienced hair loss and why you're losing your hair, and then maybe some things that you should do to investigate it further, and then also just some kind of tips and tricks. So the biggest thing, there's a couple big things here. So thyroid disorder is hair loss is a huge symptom of thyroid disorder. So if you have not been diagnosed with thyroid disorder, or you're kind of questioning if you have a thyroid issue, and you are losing your hair pretty significantly, and like I said, you have to lose 50% of it before you start to notice, those thin patches and how it's really thin now, then that could be the reason. Stress-induced hair loss is a really big one. When you're going through times of stress, having hair loss to fall out. Mineral deficiencies, your diet, what you're putting on your hair. So we're going to go through some of those things. So if you have a thyroid disorder, if you have hypothyroidism, for example, most of the time, if you have been diagnosed, you go to your doctor and he or she checks a TSH. So TSH is something that your brain produces, thyroid stimulating hormone. So the pituitary gland stimulates your thyroid. It's basically your gas pedal. It tells your thyroid to speed up or slow down. So if your thyroid isn't producing enough hormone, then your TSH is going to go up, because it's going to tell your thyroid to speed up, to hurry up. You're not producing enough hormone. Somebody's giving me a lot of likes. Is that Dr. Flynn? I think it is. Hey, Dr. Flynn. And so that's their gold standard. That is what they will test, is your TSH level. TSH level is like if you have this big room in front of you and all you're doing is taking binoculars and you're looking at this one little thing. It is not a very comprehensive test. It is not a great way to evaluate your thyroid. It's kind of a baseline, and then a lot of times TSH can look normal, but your thyroid is not. If you've ever had that experience where you've gone to the doctor and you're having all the symptoms, right? Your hair's falling out, you're cold all the time, you can't lose weight, you have brain fog, all those things, and your doctor's like, oh, your TSH is fine, you're normal. It's just because it's not being tested comprehensively. There's not enough being looked at. So testing your T4, which is the actual hormone that comes from your thyroid, testing T3, which is the hormone that your body uses. T4 converts into T3. And then reverse T3. Your cortisol levels have a lot to do with your thyroid hormone or your thyroid function. Ferritin levels, your iron levels, do you have any thyroid antibodies? Those are all things that we should be evaluating and testing, because if we just look at TSH, let's say your TSH is off, we have no idea why. So we have to look at those other factors. So if your hair is falling out and you have noticed a significant change in your thickness or in your hair loss, then you need to have your thyroid tested. That is one place that you should look, especially if you're having all the other thyroid symptoms like I mentioned. Brain fog, weight loss, you can't lose weight, you eat a salad and you gain 5 pounds, you're cold all the time. If your thyroid feels enlarged, if you feel, all of a sudden you look like you're a man and you have an Adam's apple. Most of the people that are experiencing hypothyroidism are women, but men do experience it too. So those are all signs that you should be looking for, and especially the women that are losing their hair and they have gotten their thyroid tested, and let's say they've been put on a medication, they still need to have proper testing done, because you're not really getting answers as to why your thyroid is not functioning. Why all of a sudden at 40 do you have hypothyroidism? There's a reason why it's there. We just need to investigate why it's there. So that being said, testing your iron, testing your ferritin, what do your selenium and your iodine levels look like? Iron deficiency can cause, and iodine deficiency can cause hair loss. There's a lot of minerals that we need to, how do I properly get it checked? Terry, you can go to a Wellness Way doctor like myself, if there's one local to you, if you're in Houston, myself or Dr. Brenda. And then if you go to your medical doctor, you can ask for more comprehensive testing, but their protocols are their protocols, and that's what they follow. So most likely they will not test you for more than your TSH, your T4, maybe your T3. But the real way to do it is to go to somebody like myself, hey Brandon, or another Wellness Way doctor that's close to you to have your thyroid properly tested. It's a blood test. We just do a quick little blood test. You can also check some other levels, specifically to your adrenal glands, your cortisol. You're in Fort Worth. So a lot of myself, and I know a lot of other Wellness Way doctors, they work with patients remotely. I have a lot of patients in the Dallas area that I work with remotely, so I would encourage just to call the office. I'll leave my number in the comments, or the website, and you can go and you can get my information, and I think it's on the Facebook page too. And you can just schedule a consult, and we can just have a chit chat about maybe what you do need to get tested, and how that process works. Since you're in Fort Worth and I'm in Houston. So a lot of the Wellness Way doctors, including myself, we work with patients remotely. So you not being in my town is okay. I don't know what's going on with my hair over here. So mineral deficiencies have a lot to do with hair loss as well. Like I said, iron can cause deficiency in your thyroid, and it can cause hair loss. Selenium and iodine are two huge building blocks for your thyroid. So if you have any kind of thyroid disorder, supplementing with selenium and with iodine is a good idea. You know, obviously we want to get you tested and see what your body specifically needs, but those are two building blocks for thyroid hormone production. You know, your hormone levels, postmenopausal women experience a lot of hair loss too, and that is because their hormone levels are changing. So you want to make sure that you have that good estrogen progesterone balance. That also can help keep your thyroid in check. So we want to make sure and evaluate some of your hormone levels as well to see if that may be contributing as to why your hair is falling out and why you're having hair loss. You know, B complex, B vitamins are really important for hair growth, and also just for a lot of different functions in our body. Our B vitamins are a very important nutrient that we need. And then also protein and healthy fats. So if you're eating, you know, if you're a vegan or a vegetarian, for example, you want to make sure that you are getting enough protein, enough complete protein, so that your hair follicles can regenerate and grow. Healthy fats, so omega-3s are really important for hair growth and hair, if you are having hair loss. So doing a fish oil supplement, or making sure that you are getting really good healthy fats, coconut oil, avocado, chia seeds, hemp seeds, olive oil, avocado oil. Those are all ways to get healthy fats. Ghee, grass-fed butter, making sure that you're incorporating those healthy fats into your diet. Fats are not something that you should be scared of. Obviously we want to avoid some of those nasty hydrogenated oils that are in some of the foods that we see on the grocery store shelf, but in general, fats are something that we need. We need it for our cells and for hair growth, specifically when we're talking about hair loss. You want to make sure, if you're doing a B vitamin, that you are taking methylated B vitamins. That is the best way. Like, for example, you don't want to take folic acid. You want to take folate, so like a methylated B12 folate is the best way to get those B vitamins in your diet. So, so like I said, thyroid disorder can cause a lot of it. Stress-induced, so getting your cortisol levels measured is an important thing to do when we're talking about hair loss. And also just kind of evaluating how you're managing your stress in your life, because if you're not, then that could be why your hair is falling out. And also your hormone levels. So you also want to look at what are you putting on your hair. So in the last 4 years, I would say I've become much more aware of what I'm putting on my skin, what I'm putting in my hair, what I'm cleaning my house with. And so most of your products, especially if you're going to CVS or the grocery store to get your hair products, they are very high in certain chemicals that can irritate your scalp and that can irritate your hair. Sulfates are a big one, phthalates, parabens. Those are all disguised in abbreviations, so I encourage you to look those up. I know sulfates it's like SLS or AELS. There's a bunch of different abbreviations. Or you can get an app. There's an app called Think Dirty, and you can scan the product that you're using to see what is in it, and it will tell you on the scale, and it'll tell you the different kind of toxicity that levels that are in it, if it's something that you should be using on your hair or not. So you just want to make sure that you're putting good things on your scalp and on your hair, because that can affect the way your hair growth pattern works. So if you have a thyroid issue, if you're hypothyroid and you're really stressed and you're putting crap on your scalp, then that can all contribute to the hair loss. So sometimes it's not just one thing, it's accumulation of things. So it's funny, I was listening to a lot of podcasts before this with this one girl specifically. She's a health coach, and she did the no poo method, which I'd never heard of, and I'm really anxious to try it. So I want to know if anybody out there has tried it, because I'm really curious to see how it works. But basically, she does not use shampoo. She uses apple cider vinegar and water. She uses like a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar and a cup of water or something like that, and she just puts that in her hair. And that, she does that for forever, I guess, but I guess the first couple weeks it's not so fun. Your hair is kind of oily and gross, but she says once you get over that hump, your hair, you just have this amazing hair. And so I'm really curious as to how that works, because I don't put a lot of product in my hair and I use non-toxic shampoos, but I'm wondering if I use something like apple cider vinegar and water, if that would be even better, because there's still stuff in the shampoo I'm using. I don't know. It's way less toxic load than the stuff that you can buy on the grocery store shelf. But anyway, if anybody has used any of those no poo methods, I'm curious, how does it work? So this video is a little bit shorter than my previous ones, but hair loss is important because it's funny. I had patients that they have all these health issues, and they're diabetic and they have high blood pressure, and their hormones are all off, and the only thing they care about is that their hair is falling out. Which I get. I mean, it's a big, especially if you're a woman and a man. This is a big deal in men too. And really, the pharmaceutical industry, there are not great options. That's usually where you run, right? You go, what drug can I take to take so my hair grows back? There are not great options. There are a couple, and they have really bad side effects. The biggest one for men is it blocks a conversion in your hormone levels. So this is your steroid hormone pathway. I didn't flip my screen, so I'm not going to show you that because you won't be able to see it. But basically, testosterone converts down into something called DHT. DHT is like a super strength testosterone. It's like 3 times stronger than testosterone, and it can cause male pattern baldness in women. It can cause you to grow facial hair. It can cause all kind of stuff. So there is a medication that you take that stops that conversion, but it can cause like permanent sexual dysfunction. Permanent, not like, oh, I can't get an erection, but forever. That is not a side effect if you're a man that I think you want. So and they cause a whole host of other side effects. And then once you stop taking the medication, then your hair will you will be stuck in that pattern. You'll never have gotten to the root cause of why your hair is falling out in the first place. And like I said, it's usually an underlying health condition. Our hair, our nails, our skin, those are all external ways that we can evaluate what inside looks like, this pregnancy, I've been experiencing that for sure. But if your hair is falling out, it's usually an indicator that something is off inside. It's an external reflection of what's going on inside. So if you look inside and you investigate further, then you can figure out why your hair is falling out in the first place, and you can start to regenerate new hair growth, and you can reverse that process. Once your hair starts to thin, it's not that you will never have that hair growth again. That hair does regrow. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that sell like non-toxic hairline products that can help with regeneration of hair growth, because they're probably dense in some of those minerals that we talked about. Loading up on iron, loading up on zinc, magnesium. Those are all minerals that we need to produce hair growth. So, ultimately, I try to encourage my patients to get a lot of their minerals from food first, and then if you really need that extra boost, you need to supplement. So, there are certain food sources for minerals are better than others. Like I usually like to supplement my patients with selenium. Brazil nuts are really high in selenium, but they're also kind of a moldy nut, and sometimes they're not sourced so great. So supplementation is better. But if you want to load up on zinc, then you can do like pumpkin seeds, and you can do you're not going to eat oysters every day, but oysters is a good source of that. But there's a lot of different sources that you can Google it. You can look up and see what good sources of zinc in foods are, so that you can get those in your diet. And then if you don't notice a big change, then that's when you need to start supplementing. First of all, you need to get tested and figure out, is what's going on with my thyroid? Do I have a thyroid disorder that I don't know about? Or maybe I was diagnosed with thyroid disorder, hypothyroidism. Hi from Michigan. Hi, Carla. Thanks for tuning in. But if I do have a thyroid disorder, has my thyroid been evaluated properly? Most likely, if you're being evaluated by your medical doctor, it has not. And that's just because that's how they're trained. Like I've talked about before, their protocol is their protocol, and they stick to it. And it's unfortunate. There need to be a lot of changes that happen in the medical industry. But that's not my job, so I'm not going to go there. I'm just going to help patients how I know how to help them, and that is to properly evaluate their thyroid. I had a patient recently, she took a script to her doctor, and her doctor was like, I'm not sending you for these tests. Like, you don't need to go for all these tests. And she is having all these hormonal issues, and she's being medicated. And so, yes, she does need to be evaluated, because we're not getting to the bottom of what's going on with her, and taking that medication is not doing anything to resolve her hormone balance issues. Is it helpful for her in the meantime? Sure, but we need to figure out what's going on so that she doesn't have to stay on her medication long term. So I think that's about it. That's all I got for you guys today. Oh, I was going to talk about one more thing. Essential oils. Essential oils are a great thing that you can do, that you can apply straight to your scalp. Where's my peppermint? I have peppermint right here. So rosemary is a really good essential oil. Lavender is a good essential oil for scalp, for hair growth. Peppermint is also another really good one. If you are applying something topically to your scalp, you need to make sure that you are getting a good quality essential oil. I use Young Living essential oils. They have a seed to seal promise, which means they own all their farms. They control from when the seed goes into the ground to when it goes into this bottle. So they control every process. So they're really high quality essential oils. So you can just make a little blend. You can do peppermint, lavender, rosemary. I know pine is another good one. And you can just rub them on your palm, and you can rub them on your scalp. And you can do that every time you get out of the shower. And just kind of run it directly onto your scalp, and that can help with hair growth, that can help with irritation to your scalp, if it's itchy, or if you have any kind of dandruff or anything like that. So essential oils are another great thing that you can do to help regenerate that hair and help with that hair growth cycle. So I almost forgot to talk about that. So that is all I have for you today. Bottom line is, we got to figure out where your dysfunction is coming from. So you got to figure out what's going on inside. Like I said, it's an internal reflection, external reflection of what's going on inside of your body. So you've got to figure that out. Ultimately, in the long run, to figure out how we get that hair to start to grow back for long term. Not just supplement for a while and see if it helps, but figure out what's going on in the first place, and then we know exactly how to supplement you so that your hair can start growing back. So ultimately, we want you to be healthy and your body to function normally, but I know how it is. I want you to have beautiful, healthy hair too. So really, it's about getting your body to function better and your health to be at its best. But if we can balance your hormones and we can get your hair to grow back, then that is a huge bonus. So do me a favor, share this video if you think it was helpful. Share it with somebody that you know might need to hear this information, that's having issues with their hair falling out, or maybe issues with their thyroid, and they're kind of questioning whether they need to have some testing done. Wow, Lois, thank you for sharing. Oh, good. Yeah, I love Young Living. They're awesome. I'm sort of addicted to the oils and to all the products. My order recently got lost in the mail, and I've been out of so many things, and I'm sad. I'm missing them. But they're an awesome company, and they're resending my entire order because it's lost somewhere in the mail. And they upgraded my shipping, so they're awesome. So if you're not a Young Living member, you should be. And if you trying to get toxins out of your home, that's a great way to start, is with a company like Young Living, because they have everything. They have shampoos and skincare and laundry detergent, cleaners, and all kinds of stuff. But anyway, so good. I'm glad somebody else likes Young Living here too. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Send me a message. Like I said, I know sometimes this is personal, so you don't necessarily have to comment if you don't want to about what's going on with you personally, but send me a message. I'd love to help you figure out what's going on with your hair and why it's falling out. And then, like I said, share this video if you think it was helpful. Then share it with somebody you know that might need to hear this information. So I will see you all again on Monday. And I'm not sure what I'm talking about yet. I am debating my topic that might be kind of controversial. So if I'm able to research enough, then I will talk about it. I'll leave y'all in suspense. Or if you have anything that you really want to hear about. I talked about this because I just have a lot of patients who are dealing with it. I mean, I just hear all the time, my hair is falling out. I don't know why. I don't have any hair anymore. It's all gone. So anyway. All right. Y'all have an amazing Friday, and I will see y'all again on Monday.